ages since we were last on here doing our thing on YouTube, telling you all about immigration and life in Australia. A lot has happened since then. I put it out to those of you on our Instagram, and if you don't follow Instagram, by the way, at the BAM Famalam, where are you? Just follow us over there. Anywho, I put it out to our Instagram following a few days ago to send us your questions. Let's get reacquainted and let's chat about what's going on, whether it's immigration, whether it's about us. Without further ado, let's get into your questions. Okay. Richard is asking about the UK versus Australia's schooling. So this is personal opinion, and also I'm in one area of Australia and was in one area of the UK, so I can't speak for everything and everyone. I hate the way that teachers were treated in the UK. That's been what really strikes me as the difference between the UK and the Australian schooling system. So I think the curriculums are pretty much the same. Obviously, I haven't used the English education system for 8 years now, but from what I've seen, it's a difference between bigger budgets, more resources, and teachers who aren't emotionally and physically drained from being treated badly and overworked. Lisa is coming over to the Sunshine Coast in October, and she wants recommendations of somewhere to take the kids. She wants a nice park and to have a barbecue. I don't think there's one best park to go to on the Sunshine Coast. That is a lot. Any beach park you can find. I love Peregian, I love Koana, I love Coolum. Majimba has an awesome park. They all have barbecues and they're all spectacular. The views are just astounding, and there's lots of really cool play equipment, toilets, cafes close by. I don't really think you can go far wrong with a beach park. That's my favourite. Robbo asks, hi, it's good to hear about the YouTube videos. That's that we're coming back. Thanks, Robbo. Any tips on saving for visas and the move altogether? Absolutely. Savings-wise, I would say obviously have a look at your bills, see if there's anything you can tighten up on, see if you can maybe not buy brand things perhaps in the supermarket. But I think because of the cost of living, it's actually really, I think it's getting harder to scrimp and to not spend so much. You could either sell things, subscriptions, that's another one to cut down on actually. We've all got subscriptions that we've forgotten about. So yeah, it might not be so easy to cut down on things at the moment because obviously cost of living is ridiculous. But I think that the solution to that is just by earning more. So you could either ask for an increase in your wage, and you could also get some part-time work to go alongside it. Not ideal, but maybe you could find something you enjoy doing. Maybe you've got a hobby that you make something, and that's something you could do. I know that's probably not what people want to hear, to have to work more, but to be honest, I think that with the way that things are at the moment and the cost of living, that's probably the reality of it for a lot of people. We've all had to adapt over the last several years to a changing situation. I think that's just the reality at the moment. But if moving to Australia is something you really want to do, then it will be so worth it. If you put in the hard work now, then when you arrive, things will be a lot easier for you. Oh, this is quite a lovely one. So this isn't a question. This is from Chris. Not much of a question as such, but just need your positive vibes back on YouTube. Thank you, Chris. Laura asks, what shipping company did you use, or recommendations, please? Okay, so we used PSSS. We were really happy with the service. Bear in mind, this was 8 years ago. What we have heard about various shipping companies is that it can often depend on the branch that you go through. So the branch that we used was Maidstone because that was the one local to us in the UK. The other recommendation that I have is the 7 Seas Move Cube. Sometimes you don't want to ship a whole container and you might only ship a few things. This gives you a smaller, cost-effective option. It's a really simple service where you pack your stuff, you lock it up, you ship it through them, and it arrives the other end for you to open up and unload. Jay asks, why haven't you guys been on YouTube? I know you've been moving, etc., but missing the vids. We've missed you too, Jay. I think YouTube and any kind of social media presence is really, really consuming, not just time-wise, but mentally. And so is moving house. So those two combined, we just really struggled with to carry on doing both things. So I'm a passionate person, and when I get stuck into something, I'm 100,000,000% there. I think it was around May time last year we decided to sell the house. We'd only been there for a few years, but we decided that living a little bit further away from the coast just wasn't for us. We decided that because we wanted to sell the house, we really needed to benefit from it. The way to benefit from moving from that house was to increase the value of it by doing a full renovation. So that is what we did. We managed to complete that renovation in just 2 months, which is insane for the amount of work we did. We had new flooring, we repainted, we had 2 new bathrooms, we revamped the laundry. We had a new deck put around the pool. We renovated a shed and had it made into a super shed. We did an awful lot to the house to make it really slick. Oh, that's actually another one for one of the previous questions. If there's any minor improvements you can make to your house to increase the value, absolutely go for that. Anyway, sorry, back to this question. Got distracted. Then we had to get the house ready for sale, i.e. everything had to be immaculate. I really think it's very important the way you present a house and that you have it ready all the time. It's really consuming. It's probably not the best way to do it if you're tight on time. It's impossible to do it if you're tight on time. But for me, that's the way that I do it. Which means, hello, YouTube videos out the window because I've got no time. Once we had an offer on ours, we went to find a house. We had an absolute tosser of an agent mess us around for 2 weeks when we thought we'd found a property. That really screwed us, and we were really worried at that point because we hadn't got another property to go to, and we had, I think it was about 3 or 4 weeks before moving out. But we found this one and got it under contract within 1 day, no messing around. I told the agent we've dealt with an absolute tosser of an agent just now, and I haven't got the patience or the time to do that again. We need it under contract immediately because we've got to move house. However, it had tenants in it. They couldn't move out quick enough. We couldn't tally up the dates so that we could move quick enough. So we then had to book an Airbnb for 3 weeks. Everything was very messy. And then when we've moved here, we have got stuck into making some improvements to the property already. We've redone the flooring, we've put some VJ paneling, we have resprayed our kitchen, done a bit of painting, repairs to the roofing because we had a rogue building and pest inspector. Then we've put solar on the roof as well. Long story short, we've been busy. Sorry, that went on for so long. I'm so sorry. But I just wanted to explain properly because making content takes an awful lot of time, but so does selling a house and moving house again because you couldn't move into the house straight away and blah, blah, blah. But now we're back. But do you know what? We have missed it. We have bumped into a few of you on the Sunshine Coast, and it's been lovely to see you and to think that people are still watching our videos. Oh my gosh, wow, thank you. Thank you so much to those of you that are still here, even though we've been gone for so long. Rianne is asking for a house tour. You will get a house tour, I promise. Just not yet because it doesn't look good enough yet because I've still got jobs going on, and yeah, I wouldn't want to show the house not fully unpacked and not looking its best when I know that there's some lovely things coming. Rianne also asks for an explanation of the reasons for moving house from the one in the country. Why rural living wasn't it for us? That's a really interesting question because I do not diss rural life or acreage life. I think they are a fantastic option. We lived by the coast. We had all of our friendships. The girls were doing really well in their schools, and we thought we could make it work by just driving. Rather than settling into our new community, we just carried on driving back and forth and pretty much living here, but living in a different house. And it just didn't work. We spent all of our time driving, and that's several hours of a day wasted, and that's not what we moved to Australia for. It was putting a bit of a strain on us time-wise. We weren't feeling happy. In saying that, if we'd have moved there first, I reckon we would have loved it and we would have stayed. It was just because we were so in love with our coastal life that I guess we just never really left that, and so we were trying to live in two different places. But acreage life is fun, it's adventurous, it's so different, and if you settle into that community and that's where you move to and you cut all ties with where you lived before, then you're going to have an amazing experience living rurally. It wasn't that rural. By Australian standards, where we lived was not rural at all. It was a hinterland town, so it was the most rural place that Ben and I have ever lived. Nino asked, what helped you be motivated to make the move, and what advice do you have for others? I think it was just really wanting something. Myself and Ben, although he pretends that he's not like me, we're both very obsessive characters. And so once we've got an idea in our heads, we do it, and we do it immediately. Once we're excited about something, just similar to that move, you know, once we get something in our head that we want to do, it's going to happen, and we're going to spend every second of our spare time making it, and some more, making it happen. I think that most people who want to move to Australia have that determination, and they have that about them. You've just got to keep your eye on the prize. Keep watching Australian TV shows, as I know a lot of you do when you're wanting to move. Keep watching us, keep watching our Instagram. I think when you keep reminding yourself of what you're going to and what your life is going to be like, that's the way to keep the motivation. I know a lot of people do vision boards and things like that. I do vision boards sometimes. That's a visual reminder that you put somewhere with pictures that you can see every day when you wake up, or every day it's somewhere in your face, whether it's on your fridge or in your bedroom, and you can just look at it and just keep reminding yourself of what you're working towards. Katie asks, can I talk through the visa process? So the visa process is different for everybody, and I think the best thing you can do is talk to a MARA registered immigration agent. Do not speak to anyone who's not MARA registered, because there's no regulating body for them. You can also check out that an agent is MARA registered by heading over to their website. Make sure that the number they've given along with their name all tallies up, because obviously you don't want to get scammed by some scammer. So when you speak to an immigration agent, they'll be able to give you an idea of what your visa options are and also what the costs are. And if maybe you're not eligible at the moment, they can let you know what you need to do to become eligible. Victoria is asking about deciding on areas to live in or states. She's asking specifically Perth or the Sunshine Coast. We're on the East Coast, which is where the Sunshine Coast is. It's beautiful. I mean, it's absolutely wonderful. When you head over to Perth, it's still beautiful. There's still incredible things there. It is a lot more isolated though, because once you're out of the city, there's not really a lot else on that side of the country. However, there is a massive plus to Perth. The massive plus to Perth is that the housing prices are a lot lower, so you can get a lot more for your money. There's a massive expat community there, and that's a real plus. The other good thing about Perth is that it's more of a dry heat, whereas the Sunshine Coast is quite a humid heat. The humidity here can get a little bit much in the summer. But anyway, it's just weighing up what it is you want out of your move, looking into everything on both sides. I've never lived in Perth, however, we have got friends in Perth. They seem to love it. They also love visiting the Sunshine Coast. So who knows? I think it's just where you settle, where you can find work, housing-wise, maybe what's your budget, and have a look at those things and compare what would be best for you, whether you like the humidity or whether you prefer a dry heat, whether you feel that Perth would be too isolating, or whether you want somewhere a bit busier. I mean, the Sunshine Coast itself might not be busier, but we've got Brisbane down the road. We've got a lot of things, you know, relatively close by. Anna is asking about getting a sponsor sponsor. It's definitely not the easiest thing to do to get a sponsor, but it is doable. If you've got the money, I would definitely say pop over to Australia, meet people, network, apply for jobs, let people know what you need, chat to anyone and everyone and go hell for leather at it. If you can't afford to do a recce here and you're saving your pennies for the actual move itself, then do that, but do it from wherever you are. Make sure you chat to everybody you can, join Facebook groups, network on LinkedIn, chat to anyone, ask for advice. It's a case of perseverance. If you need a sponsor as well, it might be a case that you need to be a bit more open to going anywhere. You can't be so choosy. There are plenty of companies offering sponsorships, but you just need to get in there, you need to network and apply. Keep doing it and I'm sure something will come out of it. Maybe even speak to your immigration agent and see if they've got any contacts that they might be able to help you with. Some companies actually go to immigration agents as well to let them know what they're after. So this is well worth trying. Okay, so someone has asked, they need help with finding their previous pay slips for the visa application. Good luck. I can't help. But I'm sorry about that. Gosh, that's a bugger, isn't it? Get it over and done with as quickly as possible because you do not want that dragging on. Stephanie keeps getting messages from the government, I'm guessing she means the Australian government, that I need to prove how the Dutch system works. Check with your immigration agent, but one thing I would suggest is whatever it is they're asking for, head to the Dutch government website and you might just be able to take snippets off of that and just refer them to it, because it's something we had to do as well. We had to prove something. And it was just a case of going onto our government website and just taking the information from there where they could see that it was from the government source. I don't know exactly what it is you're being asked for, so I hope that that helps. Kane, I don't actually, maybe, hang on, sorry, the person that's asking this might not be called Kane. It looks like it's like a dog's Instagram page. So, Kane or Kane's owner says, we plan to emigrate in 2 years with our beautiful dog. Online it says quarantine is 10 days and 30 days. Oh, it's become really expensive. I mean, it was expensive beforehand anyway. It's become more expensive and the quarantine times have increased. There's a lot more regulations. Get in contact with some companies and just ask about your specific breed and what would be required because it has all changed. Heather says, it's been over a year of waiting for our visa to be processed. It's awful being in limbo. Do you know, it sucks being in limbo, whether it's for a week or 5 years. Is there anything we can do while we wait? I see the huge pile of work coming as soon as we get it or land, and I would love to start working on something now. I think the important thing is to keep motivated, keep watching all of your Aussie stuff so that it stays fresh in your mind, because I think it can make you feel a bit down waiting for a visa and being in that limbo stage. You could start selling things from your home, getting rid of things, doing a bit of a clear out so that you don't have such a big job when the time comes. The other thing to do is to keep an eye on the housing market where you're moving to in Australia. Make sure you know what is going on, you know your pricing, you know availability, what it's like, you know whether there's a lot of stock or not. Keep on top of it so you know when you arrive exactly what to expect. I think just start prepping to move and make a bucket list for things that you want to do while you're still in your home country with all your family and friends around. She says also, is there anything that can be done to speed up the process? We are seeing people with the same visa who lodged in May 2023 being granted, while we lodged in January 23. It's painful and disappointing watching these quick grants. Double check the global visa processing times. So on the department's website, they do list the current processing times for every single visa type. I found it to be quite accurate and helpful, but that will give you an idea and you may think, oh, okay, well, I am still within the average processing time for that visa type, so I've got nothing to worry about. But maybe once it gets outside of that, you could ask your immigration agent to chase it up for you. Charlene says, Hi Maz, we're a family of 5 and we live in Watford, just outside of London. Yes, where Harry Potter Studios is. I'm a primary school. I am a primary school teacher and my husband works in security. My sister lives on the sunny coast, and in the summer of 2022, she came back to England for a visit. She said to me that we should look into emigrating because the kids will love it. So we did, and we decided to go for it. In February 2023, I did my English test and then skills test. Then we got our expression of interest in. We had an invite from New South Wales for a 190 visa and we have lodged. We are going for medicals on Tuesday. Exciting. Actually, everybody worries that they're going to have some kind of something found in these medicals. Loads of people say it. They're worried that, you know, there's some kind of problem that they've never known about. It never happens. Anyway, I hope it never happens. I've never heard of it happening. Sorry, I've just digressed. It's all happened so fast. We're coming for a month in August and staying in Coolum near my sister. Coolum is beautiful. You're going to love it. But our dilemma is this. My eldest is 14 and is picking her GCSEs. She will start them in September. We don't know when the visa will come, but my agent said that teacher visas are coming in quickly. If she starts, we don't know whether to finish the GCSEs and then A-levels or leave midway through the GCSEs. That's such a tricky one. You've obviously got to do what you think is right for your family. If it was me, and assuming that you're planning on living in Australia permanently, I don't think GCSEs really do much. Here we don't have GCSEs or an equivalent of. You have a high school certificate, which is at the end, which I guess is the equivalent of A-levels because that's what you would use to get into university, or ATAR points, but they're all done through that last couple of years. She wouldn't use her GCSE qualification here for anything. I mean, fingers crossed you can get a grant and move before she starts studying for GCSEs. I would just move. I don't really think it's going to be of any benefit. Please don't just take my opinion because that is a lot of responsibility. Maybe speak to some schools. That might be a good idea. Have a bit of a ring round of some schools in New South Wales that you're interested in her going to, if you've got an area that you're interested in, and just see what they say. But in my mind, I don't think that having GCSEs would benefit her here. Right, Stephen says, hi, we are looking to make the move from Ireland to Perth and are being quoted $18,000 for visas, but we've never been over to see if we like it before spending that much. Is there any options to go over with partner and 2 young children to try it before we get a proper visa? Absolutely. We call it a Recce Trip, and often people, if you've got the cash, then people go for a holiday. So I think you can come for up to 3 months at a time on an e-visitor visa. So it's an e-visitor visa. So the visa is free. Obviously, you've still got to pay for your flights and accommodation and rental car, but that gives you a chance to speak to potential employers or companies that you might be interested in. It gives you a chance to network a bit, to go and look at housing, and just to generally get the vibe of where you're looking to move to. We did it. I think that a Recce Trip is a fantastic idea if you have the cash. David has a funny story for us. So he says he used to live in Perth. He wasn't feeling well, so phoned for medical advice. The lady who answered the phone said, "What state are you in?" And he said, "I'm not too bad, just a bit poorly." She obviously laughed her head off. She obviously meant, what state did he live in? She said it made her day. Us Poms, we've got, there's a common one where when you go to an Aussie get-together, someone will say, "Bring a plate." And it's been known for Brits to turn up with plates and perhaps even to bring cutlery as well in case they've not got enough cutlery. What they're actually asking for is obviously a plate full of food, so it's like a bring and share. Oh, so David, along with his funny story, he's also got an immigration problem as a former permanent resident of Australia. He said he's lost his permanent He has lost his permanent residency because he's been outside of the country for too long. I've just reapplied, but I'm 45 in June and I'll be too old, and he's worried that it's not going to happen. I really, really hope for you that it does. I don't know if immigration consider your age from the time that you applied for the visa or when it comes to them granting the visa. I'm really hoping that it's from when you applied, so that you turning 45 in June won't make any difference. Either that or that they do a really quick grant. I really, fingers crossed. So let us know how you go, David. I don't know how to pronounce this lady's name, so I was talking for too long and I ran the battery out. Anyway, I'm back. Back to your questions. Plenky, and I really hope that I'm pronouncing it properly, but I'm guessing I'm probably not. Is it difficult to move as a single mum with 3 kids and a grandparent from Canada to Australia? Is it easy to get a visa approval for a grandmother? Speak to an immigration agent. I don't know if you can apply for the visa at the same time or whether you would need to already be here. There's a few things it depends on. The family ratio as to how many children are here already, or how many children they've got back in Canada or elsewhere. And fingers crossed, I really hope there's an option available for you to bring your mum here with you. It's been really good to be back talking to you. Thank you for sticking with us, even though we have been off forever. Well, it seems like forever anyway. We will be back next Saturday. Let's do this YouTube shizzle thing again.